Well, hello everyone, Paulo Dishon here with Build Apps with Paulo. You may ask, what is this Build Apps with Paulo thing? Well, Build Apps with Paulo is a website that we created so that we can teach people how to program, but most importantly, how to become the best well-rounded programmers they can be. So this week I decided to do this little video because of one single reason. So as you know, I get a lot of questions as an instructor, online instructor. I get a lot of questions daily, and most of the questions are related to programming. How do I do this? I don't really understand this part. How do I add this feature? And so forth, which are great questions, by the way. However, I noticed that the root of most of these questions actually comes from the learning process that we take. And that's why this week I decided to create this video so that I can hopefully inspire you by showing you the framework I use to master pretty much any skill that I want to be good at. Are you ready for this? All right, let's go and do this. When we want to learn something, we all have a process. And I have my process, which I borrowed from everywhere, really. And it really has helped me to master or to really learn things that I can remember for a very long time. If we use a diagram to represent the process of learning, it would look like this. It's a stairway with steps at each level. So we usually start at the beginning. When we're starting out learning a certain concept or a certain discipline, a new thing or a new programming language, framework, or anything really, we start from the beginning. So we know where we start and we know exactly where we want to be. Between where we start and where we want to get to, we have levels. I call them level 1, level 2, 3, 4, and then the competency level. That's where we're trying to achieve. Now, in order for us to go from level 1 to level 2, there's a lot of things that need to happen. There's a lot of process. So you're learning, you're engaging, you're doing all the things that you're supposed to do. But most importantly, you have to practice. So practice encompasses all of those things. So you're engaging, you're asking good questions, you are challenging yourself, doing challenges and so forth. You're actually doing things, right? That is part of the practice. Now, the most important thing here is that for us to be able to go from level 1 to level 2, this practice has to be solid, which means we have to solidify all of this knowledge that we have on level 1 in our brains. That way, we really understand the basics so that we are able to go to level 2. And of course, you want to go to level 3, the process continues, right? A lot of practice, a lot of really doing things, challenge yourself, seeking explanation if something doesn't make any sense, and so forth. And you keep going and going until you get to your competency level. So there are common problems that arise in this process because we all know the process, right? So again, we have a starting point where we're starting, and then we have the goal where we want to get to. And we want to get to the highest level, which is the mastery. But often what happens, I think it's probably because we are not very patient with ourselves, is that we want to propel ourselves to other levels without actually proper practice, without actually understanding all that we need to understand before we go to the following levels. Okay? So here, what's happening here, I'm going from level 1 to level 3. Right? So it's from start to level 3, propelling myself, missing out on the basic levels which are required for you to be able to be competent on that level that you want to be. So as you can see, this brings a lot of grief, a lot of frustration. Most often people realize that they need to probably to go back to a previous level for them to understand. But again, without the proper mindset of practicing and challenge yourself and asking good questions and finding good answers and really honing on those basics, you still get really frustrated. And so what happens then is that we give up, right? Because we realize it's too hard. So we said, okay, there's no way we can get to that competency level. So we just say that's not attainable. So bye-bye, this is not for me. And let's just move on to something else. And even a worse problem is that we become dabblers. So we have all of these things that we want to do or we are doing, we try them out, but since we're using the same process, we end up at the same place. Now, being a dabbler is not a bad thing. I will say this. I am myself a dabbler in a lot of things, but for things that are really important, it's a really good idea to have a process that you have in place, such as the one that I've just shown you, so that you can actually understand what's going on. You can learn and achieve that mastery. Okay? So, same process, you're going to get same results. If you want to actually master something, you've got to change the way you are learning, the process that you're used to learn the things that you're trying to learn. So, change the broken learning process to get good results. And I do realize that this topic, if you go online, there's a lot of different people who would actually say you must be a dabbler, mastery, it's just overrated and so forth. And the other way around as well. But I just want to tell you what works for me, and I'm very positive that it will work for you. Be a dabbler in things that you don't have much interest in terms of the long term. But if it's something that you really want to master, you think it's going to help you as a person, as a professional, or whatever else you want to do in your life, the best thing you can do to yourself is to have a process, a learning process that involves a lot of practice. Right? There's no really other way around it. A lot of practice, which means you have to challenge yourself. You have to ask good questions, get into the habit of taking notes. You have to really be proactive in your learning, and you will get the results that you want. It's all about the process. All right, so I hope this helps. I would love to hear what you think, what are your thoughts on this. So leave comments, create discussions, and let me know what you think. All right, perfect. I'll see you next. Alright, so perfect. So if you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, please go ahead and comment below. I would like to hear what you think, what your thoughts are on my process, or maybe you have your own process, because I know we all have our process. Just let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, if this is your first time here, go ahead and subscribe and make sure to click on that little notification thing. That way, anytime that I have new videos coming up, which it's usually pretty often, at least every other day, I think. Anyway, so that you are notified, that way you don't miss anything. Again, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you and your time, and I hope to see you next time. All right, thank you, and I'll see you later. Never mind. Oh,